Hi everyone, it's Melissa, and today I'm sharing with you my list of 20 books for the BookTube Spin number 2. I will link Rick McDonnell's video below explaining what this is, but essentially you choose 20 books, you post it somewhere, and in a few days he's going to spin a virtual wheel, and whatever number it lands on, you read the corresponding book. I decided to just do genre fiction this time because I'm a big genre reader, but I feel like lately I've just been reading a lot of literary fiction, which I also enjoy, but I'm just missing my genre fiction. So I've chosen 5 genres and 4 books from each genre. So the first is dystopian / like post-apocalyptic fiction, and book number 1 is Oryx and Crake by Margaret Atwood. I hear nothing but good things about this. It's about a man called Snowman post some sort of like plague. He may or may not be the last person alive. So that's number 1. Number 2 is Hollow Kingdom by Kira Jane Buxton. This is an apocalyptic book, I think, where something weird is happening to the humans. So it involves like a crow as one of the main characters, and the crow is like a sidekick to like a human, I guess, or like a pet of a human. I'm not sure. But in any event, his human is acting weird. It sounds like maybe there's almost like a zombie thing happening. I don't know. But essentially, I think all the animals are starting to like talk and trying to figure out a way to like save the humans. So that just sounded really like kind of like apocalyptic, but also fun. So I don't know. We'll see. Number 3 is The Loop by Ben Oliver. This is a YA dystopian where children, like teenagers, can be given the death penalty, but they're sent to this prison called The Loop, and they can like extend, or they can delay their execution by doing like being like subjects of experiments that are to like the betterment of the outside world. So that premise just really intrigued me. And number 4 is Moon of the Crusted Snow by Wabgashig Rice. So this is an apocalyptic book set in an indigenous community, a northern community, I think in the Arctic. And some sort of apocalyptic event, something has happened, and then other communities, more southern communities, like people start to migrate north to seek a safe space. Maybe I think the community is like pretty self-sufficient, and so it just sounds really tense and like my type of thing. The second genre is science fiction, which I haven't been reading a lot lately, so I'm trying to remedy that. So book number 5 is Axiom's End by Lindsay Ellis. I don't know anything about this book. I have it because I enjoy Lindsay Ellis's video essays, and I enjoy science fiction, so my husband bought this for me for my birthday a couple months ago. So I can't tell you actually anything about that. I know absolutely nothing, and I like going into books knowing basically nothing. Book number 6 is a short story collection, Stories of Your Life and Others by Ted Chiang. I read his other collection of speculative fiction last year called Exhalation, and it was one of my favorite books of the year. The stories are so like smart and interesting and like philosophical, but with the element of humanity. I just really enjoyed them. This includes the story of Your Life, which was the basis or inspiration for the movie Arrival, which I really enjoyed that movie a lot. So I am really anxious to read Ted Chiang's other collection. Book number 7 is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. I don't really know anything about this besides it deals with space travel or space exploration, and I'm going purely off recommendation from other people who enjoy science fiction. Book number 8 is Binti by Nnedi Okorafor. I also don't know much about this. I think there's like space travel, maybe aliens involved, like different races of people in space. I have no clue. My third genre is fantasy. So book number 9 is A Winter's Promise by Christelle Dabo. This is part of a fantasy trilogy. I believe it's YA, but I'm not entirely sure. And in this world, It's like post this cataclysmic event where like the planet has basically been destroyed and there are these like floating fragments called arcs. And like each floating fragment of like Earth develops its own like culture and like society. And then the main character in the book has to, I think, is betrothed maybe to someone else, so has to leave her arc and go essentially to an entirely new world. It just sounds fascinating. Book number 10 is Equal Rites by Terry Pratchett. I've only ever read the first 2 Discworld novels, and I've been aching to read more, and I'm just in the mood for something a little bit light and fluffy. So I believe this is the next one, book number 3. Although the Discworld novels you don't have to read in order. Yeah, this is book number 3. But yeah, I've just been wanting to read some more Discworld. This is like a comedy fantasy series. Very sharp, witty, dry British humor, which is totally my thing. So I really, really enjoyed the first 2. The next fantasy book, book number 11, is The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. This I don't know a whole lot about. I believe there's a cataclysmic event in this book as well, where there's like a rift that opens, like a giant earthquake, something along those lines. And the last fantasy book, book number 12. This is going to be a reread if I get on this one, but I've been trying to reread more books this year. And this is The Silmarillion by J.R.R. Tolkien. I reread The Lord of the Rings recently, and I'm just still in the mood for more Tolkien. Like, I'm in the mood for more stories in this world. So the events of this book happen before the events of Lord of the Rings. It's kind of like the creation story. It's like the mythology of a make-believe world. I don't know. It's my thing. It's not everyone's thing, but it's my thing. Genre number 4 is horror. So for this, we have book number 13, The Bloody Chamber by Angela Carter. This is a collection of short stories that are, I think, all horror or dark, basically. In some way, it looks like there might be kind of like a fairy tale element to this, which is my jam. So, yeah, I would love to read this. I mean, I would love to read all of these, clearly. They're on my list. Book number 14 is Pet Sematary by Stephen King. I enjoy Stephen King's book for the most part. Some of them are not the greatest, but I do enjoy his writing style. And Pet Sematary, most Stephen King fans say that this is his, if not the best, then one of his best horror stories. So I would really like to read this. What next? Oh, this, I don't know if this is horror or thriller, in that general vicinity. John Dies at the End by David Wong. I don't know anything about this, besides that it's creepy and John dies at the end. And the last horror is Her Body and Other Parties by Carmen Maria Machado. This is a collection of short stories dealing, I think, a lot with women's bodies and like violence against women. So very dark, very horrific by the sounds of it. And the last genre is historical fiction. So book number 17, Washington Black by E.C. Aduyan. I don't think I've pronounced that right. Please correct me if I am wrong. So Washington Black is set during, I forget exactly when, but it follows a child who is a slave, and he gets sold, I guess, from this like sugar plantation in Barbados to go work on a ship, and I think kind of develops a friendship with the captain. And I think there's like a murder like story in here. I don't know. I don't know a lot about this book, but it did win the Giller Prize, so we will see what I think of it. Book number 18 is Island of Sea Women or The Island of Sea Women, I think, by Lisa C. This is set on a real island, the name of which I forget, off the coast of South Korea. And in this book, like, the women are the breadwinners, basically. There's like a group of women who are divers, and they make a living doing this very dangerous job. And I think it's set from the like 30s through 60s maybe. And I think I just saw someone recommend that, and I thought that sounds interesting, so it's on my list. Book number 19 is Hamnet by Maggie O'Farrell. So I think everyone has probably heard of this one, but it is kind of the fictionalized story of Hamnet and Judith, mostly Hamnet, who were Shakespeare's children, and I think it also features Agnes, their mother, very heavily. And so it's really not about Shakespeare, it's about his wife and their children, and his son Hamnet died from the plague, essentially, and it kind of like follows their family grief. It sounds totally like my kind of thing, and everyone says the writing is really beautiful. And the last book, number 20, is Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is very much, does not sound like a Melissa type of book. It follows, well, the Daisy Jones and the Six are like a band, I guess. And I've heard it's written in the style of like an interview, like with these musicians. So it's almost like a transcript style. Anyway, does not sound like my type of thing. But this, and there's a couple other Taylor Jenkins Reid books that are very well liked in the BookTube world. So I don't know, I guess I'm just like curious to see like what the hype's about, and I would love to be pleasantly surprised and find out that it is a Melissa book. So that one's kind of like my wild card. Anyway, those are my 20 books for the BookTube Spin. Thanks everyone for watching, and let me know in the comments if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. Thanks for watching. We'll chat soon. Take care. Bye.